yes, my company is called Jessicurl, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that and sort of how we got started. And I just want to start by saying thank you so much for having me here. I really am flattered when I'm asked to speak to anybody, but especially young people, because of the experiences that I'll tell you about. And I think that you are all in a very, very powerful position right now amongst yourselves with each other. And I hope if you take nothing from what I have to say, that you really take to heart that part. Because when the president of CR was talking about how everybody can make a difference, I would like to extend that notion beyond globally, but actually it's like extending it and bringing it back in. You can make a difference globally, but also individually, and how you treat each other can change somebody's life. So I definitely want to, I'll touch on that in a minute, and I have a story to go with it that I don't think I've ever told in public, but it's powerful. So as my introduction said, I started Jessicurl in 2002, but the reasons behind it go far back. They go back to about when I was 12, 14, and my hair started going curly. Everything was fine up until then. We got along great. It was straight, and it just did the same thing every day, and it was great. And all of a sudden, it just started growing really quickly and quite horizontally, and it was awful. And it was noticed. There was this kid who sat behind me in English, and it was very big, as you can tell, it's still kind of big, but he used to stick pencils in it to see how long they would last, and I didn't know until I got home from school. They would last all day, so I'd be walking around with pencils sticking out of my hair, and nobody told me, and yeah, it is funny, but at the time, it wasn't, because it was like, well, thanks a lot, and then I got older, and when I went to high school, I got this horrible haircut, and when it grew back, it grew out, like really out. And there was this kid who sat behind me in Spanish class, and I guess it was growing out towards him. And the shape that it took, he likened it to an egg. He started calling me Egghead, not because I was smart, but because of this egg-shaped hair. And because he did that in Spanish, he quickly translated it, and for 4 years they called me Cabeza de Huevos. And I think the teacher told him how to translate it. So what happened as a result, and I hated my hair. I hated it. I would spend so much time trying to flatten it and make it take up less space on the planet. I would take a pair of nylons, and I did this for real, and nobody knew at the time. But I've gotten over my trauma of it. I'm telling you, my secret. I would take a pair of nylons, cut the legs off, sew the legs up, and wear the butt part on my head when I slept at night to flatten it out, and it worked quite well, except for it resulted in this red mark that for the first hour of school I'd walk around with this red indentation on my forehead, which was somehow bigger than the hair. I mean, it was better than the hair. I don't know, it was a lot of mental energy that went into trying to control this. And all I wanted was just to go unnoticed. I wished so much that I could just go to school, keep my head down, avoid eye contact, make it through the day, make it through the week, make it through that year, and just get out, because they were mean to me. They called me mushroom head and chia pet and Brillo pad because of the hair that I had no control over. So I realized that if it was wet, it took up less space, it wasn't quite as puffy. So I would go wet it down, trying to, please these people who were making these names up. And then they were calling me crunchy and helmet head and crusty, because my hair was always wet. So yeah, so it was like, you can't win. And